Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy JV and Kendrick back on Power to the People podcast, where we give the power of the freedom of speech back to the people. And today we have Kristyn Laaouina.
Laaouina, yep.
Okay, Laaouina on our episode today, where we're going to talk about Black Lives Matter. Kristyn, kind of introduce yourself. Me and Kristyn, I'll start first. We had a class together. It was argument and persuasion, I think, last year. We just met last year. We've been pretty good friends ever since. So yeah, kind of, talk about your major, what you want to get into, all that good juicy stuff, and then we'll get into it today.
Okay. I'm Kristyn Laaouina. I go by she, her, hers pronouns. I'm a criminal justice major. I'm a sophomore, and like on my free time, I really like activism, and I'm always staying up to date on what's going on with politics and stuff like that, because I feel like politics are everywhere, whether we know it or not. So staying up to date with it is kind of like just knowing what's going on in the real world. So, yep, that's it.
Kudos to you. I wish I had the strength to keep up with politics. It's so draining. At least to me, that's my opinion, though. But yeah, okay. So today we are talking about something everyone should know about. It's been very prevalent, especially in the past couple of months. Black Lives Matter. This is something very passionate to Kristyn, and of course, it's passionate to me. Feel huge about the Black Lives Matter movement and just everything that's been going on. So a really, really big thing, a big case that's been going around. I haven't been on Instagram, so I'm going to say I'm pretty I'm a baby when it comes to this information, but Kristyn knows a lot about it, so she's going to kind of talk a little bit about it, and I'll put my little two pieces in, is everything with Breonna Taylor. Now, what I know, actually, I'm not even going to say that. Can you describe the situation of what happened with Breonna? Just kind of, because I know something with the cops. So yeah, you just describe it and then we'll go from there.
So the Louisville police were investigating two males who they assumed were selling drugs, and they did a raid in the middle of the night. And they are 100% allowed to do raids without announcing themselves. That's called a silent raid. They usually do that for like drug kingpins, like the ones that they know have guns, they know are dangerous. Like if there's a person and they know there's a hostage in there, they're not going to announce themselves. But this wasn't that type of situation. One, I'm not 100% positive, but I believe that they had the wrong apartment number, and that's where the first thing started. The second, I know that they because the case already happened and there's already a decision on it, but now a bunch of people who were witnesses are coming back on their statements, and the SWAT team members were saying that they all kind of had their doubts and their concerns about the raid on her apartment in itself, and they were kind of trying to stop it, but nobody really did. And then obviously it ended with her dying. So when they did the raid, they didn't announce themselves. It was the middle of the night. Her and her boyfriend were asleep. They woke up thinking there was an intruder. Her boyfriend grabbed his gun and shot it at whatever. He just heard noises. And then the police just started shooting mayhem. They were shooting the walls. They shot her, killed her. They arrested her boyfriend. It was heartbreaking because she was an EMT, a first responder. She was asleep in her own bed. It was insane. And you would assume that justice would be served, but nothing happened.
Yeah. I'm not even going to cap. I didn't even know about that before, because I'm not going to say an advocate. I'm a firm believer in, I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention to any of that stuff because it's super negative. And I don't like having all that negative stuff in my life. Now, I do think sometimes you have to pay attention to it because of things that are going on in the world. But I try not to, because I think politics is silly and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the first time I heard about Breonna Taylor was during the protests. And then, of course, on Instagram and stuff like that, they had everyone's stories. So that's when I first heard about it. And then all the stuff that happened. I mean, I hate to say it, but when I see stuff like that, I'm just like, well, that's a shame. And we shouldn't be like that, but we're so, what do you call it? We're so numb, I guess, to that stuff, especially being black. That's all you see on the news. and not even like cops killing black people, but also cops or black people killing other black people. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I thought that was crazy, but it's just, I don't know. I guess I was mad, especially with everything that happened with the whole George Floyd thing. I think that was a very angry time for a lot of black people. Like I would go to work. I work at Target. So I mean, after hearing everything that happened with Target, did you hear like the actual, like what actually happened with when they
No,
raided
I knew
Target?
that people were really like raiding Targets, and that was like the main place that they would raid, but I didn't know like the specifics.
So when everything happened, this is an eye opener for everybody, and you can fact check it because this is true. So when everything was happening with the protests and the police were gassing and all that stuff, the protesters, the peaceful protesters, they went to Target to get supplies, bandages, milk, all that good stuff. Target didn't let them in. So there's a big group of people, Target's not letting them in. We're like, well, we're gonna get our shit. So they raided the Target and they trashed it. But the news, the media made it seem as though it was just crazy people, crazy protesters, angry protesters raiding the Target, which is not true at all. So me, I knew this, and I'm working at Target. I hated everyone at Target. I was like, well, F you and F Target, you know, like, so that's just kind of what I was going through. So I think it was a super angry time for everyone at that time. And everything with Brianna, I mean, it's definitely a shame. And not only Brianna, I mean George. There's another female that has a story not similar to Brianna, but she's also died from police brutality. I can't think of her name, but I just heard of it. I can't think of it, but I definitely I don't know. It's a shame. And I mean, I know me, like I've had past experience with the cops. Have you had any? We talked about it once,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go into some of your experience you've had with the police.
Um, well, the first time I had a, not the first time I had a police interaction, but the first time I had a like really negative police interaction was, it was right after my first accident. I was driving. It was late at night. I live in a farm area, so there's a lot of deer, there's a lot of animals out, and I was going around a turn, and as I was going on the turn, the deer came out at me. So I turned my car, and my car was turning one way, I turned it the other way, so my car spun out into a fence. And when the cop got there, immediately he was like, "You were on your phone." And I was like, "No, definitely wasn't." He's like, "I know you were, because all teenage girls are on their phones when they're driving." And I was like, "You can check. I always keep my phone in the center console with the thing shut, because I do not want to have a distraction like at all." And he was like, "No, that is it." He's like, "There are no tire marks that suggest that you were trying to get away from a deer. There's no deer tracks. There's no nothing." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He writes me a ticket, like, which got me the 3 points on my license, and I had to go to court for it, which was ridiculous. And then the second time, which was the same town, I was followed in the pouring rain. It was December. He pulls me over, and I was like, "Oh, I think my insurance, like I'm paying my insurance, but I think the card is expired." And he's like, "I know why you're nervous." And I was like, "I'm not nervous, but sure, tell me." He goes, "I smell the weed." And I was like, "I don't have weed in my car. You can definitely check." Like, and I got out. Well, I was like, "You can check my car." And I was about to get out. And he goes, "No, I tell you what's going to happen here. I want you to get out of your car. Now you're going to step out of your car." And I was like, "Okay." It was like super weird. It was pouring rain. It was December, so I didn't understand, like, whatever. He calls back up, and I'm shivering, and they go, "Well, you can sit in our car for warmth, but we're gonna have to put you in handcuffs first." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I'll just stand in the rain then." And as they were searching my car, searching my trunk, searching everything, trying to find whatever thing they could, I'm like shivering, and they're just making fun of me. They're just sitting there going back and forth, being like, "Oh, she's in jeans. I bet she's so cold," and like all these things. And just the interactions I've had with the police are very like, there's no respect. Like, if you respect them, they still don't show you respect for some reason. And it doesn't make sense, because they're civil servants. They work for us. They should respect us more than anyone, but they never do. So I don't know.
It's something when you have a gun on your hip, you feel like you have all the power in the world. But I mean,
Exactly.
What were these both in the same areas, both of these interactions?
Yeah, both the same area.
So, and you live where again?
I live in Flemington, but I was in Reddington Township when it happened.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm guessing all of these cops were white cops.
Yep, white male.
Now, and I'm not promoting that all white cops are bad cops. I know the chief of police of my town personally. He's actually supposed to be coming on here soon. So, and he's a great man. But it's just BS like that that I feel like is ridiculous. I think that this whole in America, I think there is a huge something about the flag just gasses up this white testosterone ego to a whole different level. I feel, Nick, I'm not coming at you, I promise, buddy. And so I just feel like some, not all, some white males take it in a different way, and even sometimes white women too. And they just feel like that gives them all the right in the world to be and do whatever the fuck they want and treat people whatever the fuck they can. And it's ridiculously fucked up.
Yeah,
But
so ridiculous. But nobody
yeah,
checks them. Like the system just uplifts them so they can do whatever they want, and nobody's gonna stop them. And that's the problem.
yeah, and I think personally that's actually not anyone's fault, because I mean, if you really go back into history, you go back to the Europeans and them taking over stuff. That it's been like that all the time. They've gotten what they wanted, and I mean, really, the only reason they did that is because I don't even think anyone was smarter. They discovered technology before everyone else because no one was worried about technology. So if that wasn't the case, I mean, it would have been completely different. But what can you do? So it created this whole mess, and now we have to deal with that today. And us as young people, I think our generation is definitely getting tired of this bullshit.
Yeah,
But
we
at the
have
same,
so much stress and pressure on us to fix what
definitely,
happened for centuries, and it's
yeah, it's wild, and it sucks. But I mean, I don't know. I think there's two halves to our generation. There's the hardcore Trump supporters. I'll put that, and then
yep.
there's everyone else. And I know the hardcore Trump supporters, like, it's not a lot of them. But when I define the everyone else, that's people like me and you. Like, hey, I support the LGBTQ community. I support the Asian community. I support the Black community. I support all of them. And I feel like a lot, especially like as generations go on, everyone starts to become cool and accept everything. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel like that's which is a good thing. But I mean, going back to it, I know another thing that we were supposed to delve into a little bit was what that has to do with the Black Lives Matter movement, which I really think is the core of the Black Lives Matter movement and why this movement was even created. It was the injustices in the criminal justice system, which is a big thing. And I know there's several areas to that with incarceration, of course, like misrepresentation of lawyers,
racial targeting.
Yeah, all that stuff. So I mean, you probably would know that better than me because you're a crim major, right?
Right.
Yeah. So please drop some knowledge on me. Tell me, kind of what do you think the biggest problem is and why Black people are struggling so much? I think that's a good way to word it.
I think okay, so there is a social justice warrior named Sean King, and I love his podcast. And he had this one that caught my eye, and it was called Modern Day Slavery. And I really wanted to know, like, what is his definition of modern day slavery? And he said the criminal justice system is basically modern day slavery. That is what they're using to target Black Americans and keep them away so that they don't have to be actually in civilized humanity, because that's how they don't see like they don't see people as people. They see this color of their, not all, I'm not saying all, like that's why I'm in criminal justice, because like there are good people that want to make the right change, but then there are people that are using using shackling people and taking them and basically making them work for 30 cents a day. They don't have freedom, they don't have privacy, they don't have rights. Like that's what they're using to basically they target them. And there's also a fact that I found out today, which was ridiculous, that racism has costed the United States around $16 trillion. And that's like covering it up, and that's like paying dues and all those things. Like $16 trillion. That's insane. That's ridiculous. So
Does it
yeah,
give a certain time period from like when to when, or just like
from like the creation of the United States to here, I guess, like 16 trillion, which is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
that's a crap ton of money.
Yep.
I mean, that's the country we live in. That's wild. I mean, when it comes to the injustice system, I know something that like I learned in school a lot was everything that's going on with the jail system and like incarceration and stuff like that. And a huge thing that kind of touchy topic, but I'm gonna go into it anyway because that's what this podcast is about. Was the whole Me Too movement. Now let me word this very carefully. I am not saying that I do not support the Me Too movement in certain situations. I understand that rape, girls get molested, that's a big thing. But my thing is what I saw a lot of these some innocent black dudes. A lot of them were crazy football players that are trying to take advantage of the fame and the ego. But I saw a good amount of innocent black dudes that were getting accused. I had an experience in high school where I was with a girl and she accused me of sexual assault and we didn't even do anything. We just kissed. Like that's it. So I always saw that as like that made me mad. And I felt like just like not even that, but also other situations where these innocent dudes, these black dudes, were going to jail for no reason. And I feel like there's a fix to it. I'm not really educated in that area, but I mean, if you would say if something that could fix the things that are going on in the justice system, like what would you do for it? Like, you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, definitely. Well, just real quick about the Me Too movement and everything. I saw a case. I can't remember who it was, but it was a black male senior high school student. He was on the football team. He had a scholarship set up. He had all these things going for him. He got accused of rape. It was a false accusation. He went to jail for it for like a few months and then was exonerated, which means that the case was overturned and the ruling was, they said it's, whatever happened, some part of the case was unconstitutional, so now he's free. And scholarship gone, reputation gone, his career is gone because of a false accusation. And I think that they are very lenient on, and by they I mean like judges and prosecutors, they're very lenient on white male rapists, but they're very harsh on black, like anyone really who was like being accused. Like they're so quick to just judge and put that like blanket statement, okay, it's a black male, he had to have done it, they're inherently more vicious or something, like whatever they believe that then causes the injustices. But what I personally would do to fix it, I think that it starts from training, and I think that it starts from the beginning. And when in police academy, when you fail the physical test, you have to restart from day one and redo it all. But if you fail the mental and the emotional intelligence test, you don't really have to redo it. They just are like, okay, sure, like you failed. Like that's how, like, I think that the emotional intelligence test needs to be a lot stricter, and they need to be more like racially like targeted questions. And like there are ways to actually scan someone's brain while they're asking the questions to see what triggers them. And you can like by those tests you can basically see if someone's racist or not, or if they have a prejudice or not, or if how they're going to act in the day-to-day, like in their day-to-day work environment. And by like doing harder screenings for that, I feel like it could eliminate some of the problems that happen. But also like, I don't know, because it like more people need to be speaking up. I know the people that have spoken up, some of them have gotten fired, some of them have gotten threatened, some of them have, lost their reputation, lost everything. But there needs to be way more good to counteract the bad. And people are so quick to cover up the good in them and just do what everyone else is doing. But when your partner's doing something wrong, you need to stop them. And whatever way that when I'm actually working, whatever way that I can make sure that there are going to be partners that are stopping them from doing something racist or killing someone or whatever they're doing, I'm going to make sure that that's happening, and that the emotional intelligence scales are not going to be faulty, and they're not just going to ignore those types of things.
Yeah. No, I feel you. When it comes to this stuff, I'm the type of person, like, my goal is, I'm just gonna get us the F up out of here. I'm gonna go build Wakanda and we out, because I don't feel like dealing with this BS. I don't want to fix nothing. And that's been my thing for forever. I mean, I've said that on another episode. But I mean, I don't know. I think America is just, I'm not gonna say it's a lost case, because that's against what I believe in. I believe in positive affirmations and, being positive with everything. But I do think it's a lot of hard work, and I think people are not ready to put in that hard work. Our
Right.
generation is, but our generation can't fix everything.
Exactly.
Because you still have the previous generation, the one's kind of causing all the bullshit now, and all their beliefs,
Give me
and
one
that's gonna.
second. My mom's phone is right there. I'm
Oh, go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead.
I
You're
didn't
good, you're
even
good.
know. She has the most annoying ringtone ever. Okay,
No, you're
sorry.
good. I was jamming. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just a lot. That's when it comes to Black Lives Matter. It's just a lot of I don't knows for me, because I try to speak on it as intelligently as possible and as maturely as possible, but really it's just a lot of anger that's built up. But I mean, that kind of is going to lead into our next topic, which we're talking about soon. If anyone has not watched the movie Uncle Tom, I suggest you watch it, because either in the next episode or the episode after this, we're going to be talking about it with a guest of ours about the movie Uncle Tom and the things that consist of. But one of the things that happened in Uncle Tom that they were talking about is that Black people plan to play the victimhood role. And that's the problem. That's why no one is advancing. That's why a lot of people are still in the poor communities and urban areas, because people are playing the victim role. I don't agree with the reason people are still in poor and in urban areas, because I think that has a lot to do with history. But I do believe that no matter your background or where you come from, that if you kind of have that, I believe in myself, I can do anything, I put my mind to. I do believe that you can raise yourself out of any situation. Good example is a lot of the rappers that are out here. Not that I'm saying what they're doing or saying is fantastic, but they have a craft and they work their ass off in order to get to where they're at. So I think a lot of people in today's age, especially youth, need to start believing in themselves a lot more. And I do think that we need to stop playing the victim role. Especially like if you look at it, a lot of I don't want to give too much away because it's a fantastic movie. But a lot of the people are, especially like the government, a little bit like the Democrats and stuff like that, they're kind of pushing this victimhood role. Look at LeBron James, look at Beyonce, look at Jay-Z. They're pushing this message like, oh, Black people, kind of like, you need to, it's like they're sorry, like, in a sense, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know how to explain. I don't have the exact words for it, but I feel like it's a waste of time. Like, dude, okay, I get it. We're Black. We have disadvantages. I grew up, my parents talking to me about this, cops, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to let that stop me from doing what I have to do. I mean, my dad would tell me, you shouldn't be walking out the house with do-rags. Why not? Oh, a cop could do, okay. And I'm not going to let that stop me from being who I am. So, I mean, in your opinion, Kristyn, do you think that Black people play the victimhood role too much?
That's hard to answer because, like, I feel like even if they do play the victimhood role, it's not out of nowhere. Like, they deserve to have that role because they've been victimized by the racism and prejudice in the United States since the foundation of it. So, like, I think that people are quick to play any role. I think nowadays, I think that they're quick to, even non-Black people are quick to play the performative justice role where it's, oh yeah, here's my little black square on my Instagram profile. I care so much about Black Lives Matter. And then they don't do anything else about it. I think people are quick to put a role on and be like, well, I'm a victim because of this, or, all these things. But so I don't know, but I'm not sure how I feel about that. But what do you think about it? Do you think that they do?
Definitely. I mean, I will walk around school all the time. Oh, it's because I'm Black. I mean, it was jokes. I joke about it now, but yeah, definitely. I think we use that sometimes to kind of play that victim role. And to be honest, in certain situations is an excuse. for example, I'm not going to go into everything that's going on in my life right now, but I mean, I have a lot of stuff that I believe I can do now. And now I'm working my ass off in order to make these, you know, complete these goals and do what I have to do so I can be where I want to be with my dreams. But I mean, other people, I've talked to other people, Black people especially, like, oh, I can't because this, oh, I can't because that. Now, I'm not going to say they say a big thing to why people do stuff like that is their environment. Now, definitely, I am blessed to have the environment I had. I had two great parents. I grew up in a pretty decent neighborhood. We had some problem with some racist people, but it couldn't be perfect.
Mhm.
In a good neighborhood, had a good education, and my parents were very. They weren't the type of parents where they're like, oh, you can be anything you want to be, because I think that's complete bullshit. But they were the type of parents where you can do anything you put your mind to with a lot of hard work. So I grew up with that, which is, you know, why I'm doing this podcast, why I'm doing some other things in my life. And I'm thankful for that. Not a lot of people, you know, grow up with that. A lot of people grow up with one parent, no parents, you know, or they have one parent, or they're working all the time, so they never get to see them. So they go to, you know, gang life or whatever. So I definitely think your environment is a huge part of it. But at the end of the day, this is a message to everyone. Like, no matter what you're coming from, you're still human, and we're all the same. So just no matter your situation, no matter what you're going through, it's all up here. I'm a huge believer in your mind controlling everything and speaking in positive affirmations and all stuff like that. And it's a whole nother episode. I'm not going to get into it, but I definitely believe that if you believe it, you speak it into existence, then you can do it.
Yes, the
So
manifestation principle. Yes.
yes, most definitely. So I do think a lot of people play the victimhood, a lot of African Americans in America, and that they just kind of need to stop making those excuses and get to it, get to working, man. But yeah, that's about it. I think we kind of touched everything we touched on, right, Kristyn? You got anything else to
Yeah,
say? Or?
I think that was good.
Yeah, that was good. So thank you everybody for listening. Really appreciate it. I think this is episode 4. I can't remember. I think it's episode 4. Power to the People podcast. So thank you guys so much. Hopefully next week we'll have an episode. I'm trying to get this this part 2 of Men versus Women out. So please keep patient for that. We're trying to find some people to be on that. But thank you so much for listening to Power to the People podcast, where we give the power of the freedom of speech back to the people. And take it easy. Deuces.
Bye.
Bye.